Good morning and welcome. It is September 26, 2020 on a beautiful and cooler Saturday morning in the Pacific time zone. I didn't do a video yesterday. Very interesting. And this morning in my writing, what has happened in this past week? I'm going to talk about the shadow. There we go. That's what the topic is going to be today. I'm going to further have a conversation about the shadow. I know that earlier in the week I had a conversation about the shadow in regards to, oh my God, I must have really done the work because now I can't even remember what it was. Interesting. Well, that just shows the work is working, because when I forget what it was I was working about, that means it has gone away. So that was cool. Oh, now I remember. Anyways, not important. What's important is today's shadow. And I have a good friend who is on his way out. Not quite there yet, but on his way out. And I wouldn't say it's going to be much longer, though. And quite frankly, there's a lot of people they're on their way out. And I think that's one of the great things about the pandemic for people who actually look at this from a larger perspective, is that, and I've talked about this, is how valuable it is to be at peace with the dying process, with dying, etc., and so on. So naturally, this morning, I wrote a little bit about him in my Ho'oponopono practice in order to clean on that and disconnect whatever connection is going on between the two of us. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about there, you can look at previous episodes or you can contact me personally. So what I ended up doing was that there are in the study of metaphysics, there are correlated symptoms to the metaphysical or the thought energy going around them. So in the case of where my friend is at, he has cancer, and metaphysically that is resentment. And he's having heart problems. And I looked up what that is, and it's a lack of joy in life. And, regardless of one's opinion about metaphysics or whether that's true or not, seems pretty accurate to me. And with everything I talk about on this channel, I have to take it back to myself. I made a statement to a good friend of mine last night. I was describing how I went out yesterday to help a friend get a new car. And it was a Tesla, and the reason that I wanted to go was twofold. One is that he was concerned about his ability to figure out the car. And second of all, I was curious. I wanted to have that experience, and that was happening, so we did it. And being a car guy, it was too fun, and I got to drive it, and it was wonderful. And I can see why people want to drive them. I totally get it. I totally get it. Now, so I was describing this experience to my car guy friend. And I said, that the mask issue was a problem and that we were indoors a bit and yada, yada, yada. And he was like, and then you went, and I said, and then we went on the drive, and he said, you were in a car with other people? And I went, yes. And, and I said to him, I just can't deal with this extreme lockdown anymore. And I think that is kind of the world's attitude. I can see this happening in all parts of the country that I read about and parts of the globe that I read about. And so I took some chances that were not under the guise of what I had been previously practicing. And I was okay with that. And I said to my friend that, this is a balance, because yes, I have been healthy in the context of I have not had COVID, but I categorically told him that I was not as physically healthy as I was 6 months ago. So that led me to a realization when I was writing about my friend with cancer and heart problems, that why don't you look that stuff up for yourself? And the main thing that I have going on with me physically is that I don't have a lot of stamina. I have significant shortness of breath, not to the point where it affects me in just moving around, car driving, etc., and so on. But when I have to do some serious exercise, and serious, I mean things like car washing, which is not a big deal, or walking at 5,000 feet, I am pretty winded. So I decided to look up what the metaphysical stuff for lung problems are. And it was fear and lack of joy in life and grief. And I would say that that's amazingly accurate. So, another shadow is revealed. And it's a pretty big one, because I realized that correlation between that feeling. So also, I think there was not worthy in there, which is, pretty common for most people. that feeling of fear and grief, and realizing that the action is that needs to be cleaned up. Vibrationally, that needs to be cleaned up. That's just not really acceptable. I believe that the reason that I have not posted these videos, even though I've been making them now for 2 months, have not posted these videos, has a lot to do with that shadow. So it would seem to me that there is some process here. First of all, there's some significant Ho'oponopono processing to do on this. Probably more than once. I can feel the hurt in my solar plexus as I'm talking right now. And probably another thing to do would be to start editing these videos every day and posting them and letting them be where they are and letting the shit hit the fan or not hit the fan, but demonstrate my own worthiness. So that's big shadows. That's big shadow stuff. And I'm glad it's there. I'm glad I'm seeing it. I asked this the other day. What's your shadow? There are so many. So much has been created. So much was created, particularly during our formative years, that we don't know that they're there. But they're important to find out. It's of great value. Because they really do control us. You can see it in people. You know, if you're conscious about what's going on now, you can see how people are controlled by their shadows. People are not inherently mean and nasty and hateful. I really don't believe people are. But look at all the hatred and nastiness going on right now. And it's all being controlled by their shadows. And they have no idea. They have no idea. And the meltdown of the country is the revealing of these shadows. These shadows we have around women. The shadows we have around gay people. The shadows that we have around blacks. The shadows we have around poor people. The shadows that we have around. At the end of the day, regardless of my Christian beliefs, I'm going to take care of myself and not help other people. No, I don't want to pay more taxes so that everybody can be taken care of. It's not a very Christian thing to do. But that's where we're at, is these shadows are being revealed. And ultimately, that's a good thing. But shadow reveal is very painful, and it's not for the faint of heart. What's your shadow? You know, if I asked that question to you, probably most people would not have any idea, and nor should they. It really is a question to ask out to the universe and then have the universe reveal it in some way. You know, I got revealed on a shadow on Sunday and Monday. And when I added all of the experiences up that I had had, it led me to the understanding of, oh, there's a shadow there. And just as I described earlier in this video, this led me to the realization that I have a big shadow going on right now. And it's manifesting in my poor health, in the area of my lungs, and breathing in and breathing out. And it will ultimately kill me. But guess what? We're going to die, period. So that's not really the threat. The threat is not living during being alive. And that's where shadow work has a lot of value. So once again, I'm throwing it out there. If you are so inspired, ask the questions to the universe, to God, whoever it is that is your connection, and just say, reveal them to me. I want to know. I want to know what my shadows are so that I stop doing that. Whatever that is. I want to know what my shadows are. That's what I've been up to the last 6 months. I want to know. And this morning it was revealed to me that I have depression and grief. Now, I have known I have been in depression and grief for 6 months. But for some reason, it hit me between the eyes more this morning. And for that, I am eternally grateful that that happened. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. There are bigger rituals in regards to Ho'oponopono, but that is the basis. And I suggest trying it. And if you want to do deeper work in Ho'oponopono, contact me. Send me a direct message, and we'll work together. In the meantime, just ask. I have found that when I become a little conscious of an issue, that just asking about it, it comes into play. And it almost always comes into play in regards to a series of events that, if I'm paying attention to, all add up to, Mark, I, meaning the universe, want you to take a look at this. And I can only say I suggest you do the same. Thank you so much for listening this morning. Merci beaucoup. Bonne journée.